Hi, I'm Thorstein from Cinema Terror, and let's go back to the glorious 80s and talk about Red Heat. No, not that one. That's the one. Red Heat is a 1985 women in prison movie that had its attraction to the exploitation fans in that it put the two beloved actresses Linda Blair and Sylvia Kristel together and against each other. Blair plays a young American woman named Christine who comes over to West Germany to visit her fiancé Mike, who's stationed there due to his work for the US military. After a bad argument regarding the future, Christine takes a midnight walk where she gets caught up in the kidnapping of a German woman. Christine is also taken and is soon being prosecuted for being an American spy.
Christine Carlson, you have confessed of your own free will to crimes of espionage and collusion with traitors aimed at undermining the security of the People's Republic. We find you guilty on all counts. The sentence is 3 years imprisonment.
She is sent into a cruel prison where she quickly becomes enemy with a ferocious gang leader named Sophia, played by Kristel. Christine now has to try to adapt and survive, while her only hope to regain freedom is the love and persistence of Mike, who tries whatever he can to find her and free her from this hellhole. Linda Blair had an interesting career turn after being involved in scaring people worldwide with The Exorcist in the 70s. She had to turn to B-movies and exploitation flicks in the 80s and was involved in several that stood out from the norm. 2 years prior to this film, she did another women in prison movie with the surprise hit Chain Heat. Between that one and Red Heat, she also did the excellent vigilante movie Savage Streets. Both films I'd absolutely recommend to anyone that has any interest in Red Heat. Blair does has a certain innocence to her while still having a strong feel to her, which makes her work quite well in films like this, even if she might not be the best actress in the world. The lovely Dutch actress Sylvia Kristel rose to fame in the opposite way of Blair. At the same time that Blair got famous due to her role in The Exorcist, Kristel found fame with the successful and innovative softcore film Emmanuelle. Her natural beauty was never enough to transfer her into mainstream success, and due to poor business guidance and drug habits, she would never get the Emmanuelle label of her name and had to return to portraying the sexual-free character several times over the years. Her story is too much to get into in a movie review, but I would absolutely like to take the chance to recommend her biography, or memoirs if you will, called Undressing Emmanuelle from about 10 years ago.
No, this smells like shit. Oh. And I don't like that smell. It offends me.
The team-up of Blair and Kristel might attract fans to the movie, but it's not the reason why Red Heat is entertaining. What makes Red Heat work and puts it above the average women in prison movie is that it actually takes the time to give it some effort, instead of just being happy about going through the motions of delivering another film where women are tortured, stripped and put up against each other in a prison setting. That's not to say that the film is smart or has a lot to say, it's just that there is something more to Red Heat than its two main actresses and the exploitation factor. The movie was filmed in Hungary and Austria during July of 1984, and the settings are quite nice and fitting for the story. It does feel like the prisoners are in a real European jail. That is, if you can look past the poor and silly handmade face tattoos on the bad girl gang. The pacing is actually good, and it avoids the more boring parts that often occur in films like this. I'd say that first-time director Robert Collector did a good job on this one. IMDb also has the Austrian producer Ernest Ritter von Taumer listed as an uncredited director of the film, so I'm gonna guess that he did some of the scenes shot in Austria or something like that, even though I couldn't find any information to back that up online. Going back to Robert Collector, he sure had an interesting but short career. He followed up this film with Night Flyers a year later, a film that still 30 years later has not seen a release on either DVD or Blu-ray due to some bullshit rights issues. Collector was then credited as a screenwriter on John Carpenter's 1992 comedy Memoirs of an Invisible Man, and then resurrected back on the scene in 2006 by writing and directing the sports drama Believe in Me. Surprisingly enough, the soundtrack is done by the German group Tangerine Dream. While they did do music for low-budget movies, it is still quite a nice surprise to see the work here, and as always, they do deliver. It's not the best music they have done before, but it is better than what you could expect from a women in prison movie. Red Heat is not as silly or campy as Chained Heat, but it is a more serious women in prison film that does manage to work as it took its time with setting up the plot and the main characters. If you are interested in Red Heat, then there is a triple feature DVD set out there, together with Chained Heat and Jungle Warriors by Panic House Entertainment. Beware though that this version of Red Heat has a rape scene of Linda Blair's character cut out from it. If you want the total uncut version of it, which I would recommend, then there is an alternative of an older Dutch VHS version by Videoscreen. If these are the kind of movies that you enjoy, then Red Heat is absolutely worth watching. I found it enough enjoyable to give it a strong score of 3.5 out of 5. Have you seen Red Heat? And if so, what did you think of it? What are your all-time favorite women in prison films? Or just favorite Linda Blair performances, aside of the obvious choice of The Exorcist? Let me know about it in the comment section below, subscribe if you like this review and want to see more, and of course, as always, thank you for watching.
If I do what you want, can I go home?